broadcast.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out tonight for Representative Briel's second town hall in our summer town hall series. We're so glad that you came out tonight, and I guess I'll just let her take it away. Thanks.
Thank you. I want to at first extend a huge thank you to Illinois Valley Community College. What a beautiful facility. They've been amazing to work with. So in the event spaces, if you need something, definitely reach out. They're amazing. I'd also like to say thank you to all of you who are here tonight. Coming out on a hot, future, rainy night, takes a lot. And that's part of what we're going to be talking about is your engagement and why you're so important. So thank you. And thank you for bringing friends and spreading the word. We will be having another town hall coming out September 9th with a guest who will be with us, and that is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Christopher Emmanuel Welch. So he will be joining us as Speaker of the House at the Local 150 in Utica. Finally, I'd like to say a huge thank you to my team who put this together. If you notice in the back, we even have doodles and crayons and digits and widgets. Anyone who has younger families, encourage them to come. We think it's really important that kids of all ages get an opportunity to see what democracy is like. So please, we always have some sort of kid set up as well. I'd like to send a sincere thank you for everything to my Chief of Staff, Meta Wheeler. She is one of the people you'll interact with when you call my office. I'd also like to say a wonderful welcome to Montez Solis. He's in the back. Montez is our Deputy Chief of Staff. And then, soon to be leaving, but will be back, our intern, Brogan Long. Brogan has been here. Stand up, Brogan. It's okay. Brogan attends SIU, but he actually lives in DeKalb, and he has been an amazing asset. He has learned so much, and I hope he has gotten as much out of being with us as we have with him. So there's a reason that I start off by introducing my team, our team, is because they represent the 76th district in a way very similar to what I do. They are the ones, when I'm not available, who will contact your government agency. They are the ones who will make sure that your issues get elevated. They are the ones who go out to the community when I can't be there. They are amazing, and I want to say a huge thank you to them as well. So now that I've given all the thank yous, the red carpet is being played off, I think. My name is Murri Briel. I am the state representative for the 76th House District. That district is pretty much about as far west as we go. We go to Q-Lab 2, but then we head east all the way across Route 6, over to Grand Ridge, Marseilles, and then up through multiple small towns and into the city of DeKalb and some Sycamore. It is an amazing district, and surprisingly enough, we share a lot of things in common, as I found out at our town hall that we had in DeKalb. So I was born and raised here in Blaisdell County, actually in Ottawa. Went away to school, lived a life, met, married, had kiddos, but every time we wanted to move back to the valley. Certain life didn't happen, the interwebs weren't active the way they are now when my husband and I were young. So we were finally able to come back to the valley about 5 years ago, bring our 3 sons and our 4 crazy dogs, and purchase the home my dad built on the same land his family farmed and right down the street from the land my mother farmed, which is something that is near and dear to my heart. So I understand rural issues in a way that some people may not. It has been an honor to be your representative, And as you'll hear, I hope throughout this, we listen to what you say, we listen to what you ask, and we do our very best to represent you the way we want to be. So I'm going to give a little bit of a recap of what we've done in district since my time in office. We have been very busy. So sorry, my notes are moving slowly. There we go. Thank you. So, one of the reasons that I said your opinion really matters to us is that part of my team's job is to record every opinion that you have. If there's an issue, if there's legislation, our job is to mark that down and how you personally feel about it. We keep a tally of it so that if a question comes up, I can address those concerns if there's specific issues. Whether it's emailed, texted, or phone called, we keep track of those things because your input does shape how we do things out in Springfield. So what we do is that we assist municipalities. We've assisted the county board. We have worked with the first responders in multiple areas, multiple response agencies thus far, transportation, social service organizations, education, superintendents, entrepreneurs, travel, and industry. Both individuals in those fields as well as those entities representing them. The things that really matter are what matters to us down here. We help you navigate bureaucracy. So you may need a permit for something and you're struggling to get it through. Or you may need a licensure, whether you're an educator or an insurist, or you may need that licensure, and our office can help you navigate that process. We can look things up for you, and that's some of what we do. We help you figure out which agency you need to be at in order to get your problems resolved. But we also do a lot of work in the community. We do work with grant organizations. We pass information on to all of those communities and municipalities and anyone who could benefit from the grant information that we get. We help folks come up with good solid plans. We're happy to write letters of endorsement. And any of you ever need a grant, a letter of endorsement from your representative and senator will help bump you up the list in order to get those grants. So it's something that's really important to many folks in the area. We also have two blood drives that we've had, one in the north and one in the south. We're looking for some more of those. And I think the biggest excitement for us is we have formed 2 constituent councils so far. Our first council is our Emerging Leaders Council. That's been around for about 5 months now. What it is adults, young adults from 17 to 29, whether you are in school or in a trade or own a business or are finding your way, you are welcome to join. We have a great mix of people, including first responders, firemen, scientists, artists, entrepreneurs. And what we do is very similar to our second council, which we just started last month, and I am so excited about it. It is our Council of Wise Elders, 60-year-old plus. We love for you to come join our council. And, we wanted to talk about issues that are facing those of us that are getting older. And you have a lot of experience, and we wanted to be able to understand what was important to you and what we can do, and harness your experience and knowledge, ask your opinion about legislation. And the same thing holds true for our Emerging Leaders Council. So they get together once a month in person. We also do a Zoom corresponding with it. And the issues that they talk about are things that we can do something about. And one of the biggest issues for our Emerging Leaders Council turns out to be affordable housing. Guess what a major issue for our seniors are? Affordable housing. Two completely different age brackets with the same challenges. So one of the things that is really important to us is to be able to join people together, both the northern part of the district and the southern part of the district, different ages, to be able to make the 76 a place where the ground is stable and solid and people can launch. And that has been my whole plan all along, and that is what we are planning on doing. So please, look at our website. It's on the trifold. It's staterepbriel.com. Sign up for our newsletter. We're always doing new things. We're going to be doing drives for things. We're really excited. If you have something you want us to come to, we are so happy to be there. And think about joining a council. You're not committed. Oh, and by the way, the Council of Wise Elders named themselves. They are, I give them the respect. If I'm going to ask their advice, they should be able to name themselves. So instead of senior, it's that. So I give them a round of applause, because I couldn't come up with a greater name. All right, so are you all ready to sleep yet? Do we need to do a hand clap or anything? Thank you. So I want to talk a little bit about, now that I let you know a little bit more about what we've been doing in the district, I want to talk about what we have been doing down in Springfield and what I've been doing. So this is my first term. It was my first 6 months, the first session. It was amazing. It was intense. It was collaborative. It was somewhat chaotic, but things got done in a way that I found remarkable. I am overwhelmed at the amount of people who have to work in government service to pull off a legislative session. Our Capitol Guards work by March, they had 260 hours of overtime because of the session and how it runs. And it takes a toll on everyone, and it was amazing to be a part of that, to be able to represent the 76 voices. There were issues that came across my committees, or issues that I had a strong reach out for that I was able to push back on, or say no, or really champion. And again, we come back to your voice, right? Like, it feels sometimes a little bit overwhelming, like we're just one person in this sea of chaos, but I promise you that one person makes a huge difference. And it means the world to me that you guys are there. So one of the things that we did was, I was able to pass 4 pieces of legislation. They're currently sitting on the governor's desk. The first is also on that brochure. It's HB 1062. That bill, as I said in my campaign, and I've always believed, we are capable of anything in rural America if we are just given the basic essentials. Broadband is a basic essential. So we've been doing the BEAT program, which has allowed us to roll out broadband accessibility across different regions and continue spreading that farther. And myself and Senator Ben Shore were able to move a bill that prioritizes hospitals, institutions of learning, libraries, or medical systems for the hub networks, and prioritize the half-mile worker out there, which means hopefully we should be seeing more access coming very soon, which is important. We learned this during the pandemic. We know we need access to Wi-Fi for businesses to come here. We can't have dead cell spots. So this is something that I'm really excited about. Next bill that I'd like to talk about is HB 2548. This is a ban of self-administered sexual assault kits. I know, that sounds a little weird, but let me explain. So many times, in the case of a sexual assault, someone may not be comfortable going into the hospital. They may not be comfortable filing a report with the police. There are a backlog of cases, and there are companies out there that actually prey on all of those issues by selling at home self-collection sexual assault kits. So they sell them to young people who are scared to tell anyone. They sell them online. And the thing about them that makes it awful is twofold. First, they're not reliable. They're not usable in the court of law. In every state that it has been tried to use a self-administered sexual assault collection kit, it has been thrown out because of chain of custody evidence. They are not admissible in court. They are not valid. But the worst part about it is that it takes away support from people who may have been through this situation. A few years ago, Illinois passed several pieces of legislation, and one of them involved dignity for those who have been assaulted. That includes helping with no medical bill for coming to the emergency room. It includes follow-up care, social work. It includes connecting you to services, walking you through the court process if that's what you choose to pursue. And none of these services are available to someone who's dealing with this on their own. So I was really excited to be able to do that. It means a lot to a lot of folks. SB 849 is my farmers. One of my farmer initiatives was able to work out. Patrick Joyce, Senator, asked to expand the CDL temporary license, not C, but B, from 180 days to 210 days, because the growing season between hauling goes longer, and so temporary ag workers weren't able to help throughout the whole season. So that is also another bill sitting on the governor's desk. I did fight very hard to get more funding for cover crops. I was not able to do that this time. I will never stop fighting, and I'm never going to stop fighting for our farmers, because they come from farmers, farmers and union folks. So I know the uncertainty at the federal level is definitely concerning for many of us, in particular that industry. And it is hard to plan when everything is unstable, which is why we want this district to be settled ground. My final piece of legislation that I passed is HB 871. That bill prohibits anyone from adopting or fostering a child that has any history of activity with sexual or human trafficking. Surprisingly enough, that was not on the list. And when we did the Kind Act to help keep families together and keep foster kids intact, that was not one of those specific instances. We see huge human trafficking. When we think of trafficking, we really, the worst case scenarios often come to mind, and they do exist, but the larger impact is human trafficking, labor trafficking. So anyone who has had that will not be able to foster or adopt, which even if they're related to the family, they still will lose that ability, which is make sure we keep our kids safe. So that's a bit of a session recap from what my highlights were, but I do want to talk a little bit about some of the things we did with healthcare. We increased the amount the state of Illinois pays for our Medicaid reimbursement, which should help most of our safety net hospitals, including many of our rural hospitals. We did that so that we could keep them going and make sure that we have that available for people who need it. But we didn't go far enough, and I filed my first bill was a healthcare rural hospital task force, and I was so proud of that. And after being in for 6 months, that was not the greatest idea. I've learned so much more, and we are still fighting for that. But this time, I believe it's time we hold the medical industrial complex accountable. They stopped considering us patients. We are now consumers. Well, what happens? As a consumer, you get to decide, don't you? You get to push back. We have allowed the industry to tell us what is possible for far too long. We've just seen a hospital in Chicago close, much the way we lost St. Margaret's in Spring Valley. There were issues surrounding the management in general for the Weiss Hospital in Chicago, and how many more are there? We don't have nearly enough oversight on those industries that provide crucial care, right? We don't want to run you, we just need to make sure that you're in a good place and making good choices. And we're seeing that, and we're seeing when people come together and push back on these things, that we're getting movement. And I really believe that as a people, when we stand up and say, we're not your commodity, we deserve better, we will get the type of care that we need. It is possible. I believe in that. Some of the other things we did were we began to create a fund for PBMs to place their money into a percentage of the profit that they have so that we can reinvest in small independent pharmacies. How many of our pharmacies have disappeared, right? Like growing up in Ottawa, I was an asthmatic, so we were at the pharmacy a lot between antibiotics for colds and wheezing, and it was Medirex. And it was a place we could always go to get whatever we needed. And if it were closed, Joe would come in off his hours and help out. And as we corporatized, we lost a lot of that. But now even those corporations are abandoning our areas. And so this should help us be able to bring more independent small pharmacies back to the area. We've also expanded what Medicaid will pay for when it comes to women's reproductive health. Maternal health is a huge issue, and it's very concerning to me, particularly because of the geographic area that we live in and the services that are provided. One of the things that that's where I was going with that. Sorry. It's the end of the day, and I'm not sure if any of you realize, but I am openly neurodivergent. So I'm spicy. I have ADHD as well as I am autistic. So the end of the day, my brain gets a little fuzzy, computer buffering. Please bear with me, okay, if I buffer a little bit. So with women, what we did was we expanded Medicaid coverage to cover doulas, to cover postpartum care, to cover additional care that was not being reimbursed from Medicaid. So that's another step to help, but it's not enough, and I know that, and we're working on doing more. So I want to talk a little bit about the federal cuts, making things kind of difficult. We went into session, and the governor gave us his budget, and by the time it got to us, we had to cut more out of the budget that the governor had sent us. And that meant that every agency, every department had to take cuts from what the governor wanted. I sat on the Higher Education Appropriations Committee. It was amazing to understand the level of support we give students in the state of Illinois at institutions across the state was remarkable. We had planned on giving them a 3% increase. We could only give them a 1% increase. We were able to keep the funding for the current tier program, which we are still trying to get equity to together. We were able to keep that level, but we weren't able to do a lot more. So the federal government eliminated the Department of Education, and the giant bill created gaps. It added education. It cut off money for before and after school programs for those parents that we want working, right? Everybody's like, well, you should be working. Well, if I have to be at work before my kid goes to school, I may need help to do that to keep working. If I can't pick my kiddo up at 2 when school is out, I need help with that. But then I'm working. And so we see these problems, and to see these cuts coming, and I'm getting a bit emotional because I was in DeKalb on Friday. Amazing new school was opened. It is a STEAM school in a definitely challenging, disenfranchised area of town. It's brand new, K through 5, completely automated, completely technology. 4th grade classrooms have a pod, a creativity pod, where they are utilizing the latest technology. And that came from a partnership with Meta, because Meta's there. And Meta has, no, not my chief of staff,
Facebook.
not that Meta, don't hit her up for money, she's as broke as I am. No, so the corporation Meta. And it was an amazing experience. It serves children with special needs in a remarkable way, not only giving them the assistance that they need, but also making them feel like a part of school. It was just stunning. And I talked in the vice president, or I'm sorry, the financial VP, I believe, of the DeKalb County School Board, or DeKalb School Board. They have 4,400 kiddos. He told me that they just received their federal notification of funding cut. They are losing $1.6 million in federal funds to move kids to and from. Now, DeKalb's not nearly as geographically big as we are, but I can foresee these same issues starting to happen. And what it turned out to be in the information that he was given was, it was a 23% cut to student transportation and a 36% cut to special needs transportation. What are we going to do in a place that lives out, guys? These are the type of things that we face. And they're tough. We face energy crisis. We've got these rates skyrocketing. What are we going to do about that? Well, we had utilities that weren't able to keep up with the infrastructure that they needed to keep up with. They made decisions, and power companies are selling in the 2 separate markets, both MISO and PJM. We don't use our own energy here. There has to be a solution. And hopefully, this fall in veto session, we will have an energy omnibus bill that should make things a little bit easier, make things a little less difficult. And my hope is that we have this, and I'm really excited about it. If not, it will definitely be coming around in the spring session. But right now, what can you do aside from like not using power? There are several programs that our office has posted about, from NICOR, as well as from Ameren, as well as from Commonwealth Edison. And they're offering programs to help out with utility bills. And some of these are your standard, okay, you can be on a monthly payment, even out here. But they've also gone farther and offered incentives. They're able to help. So please, I encourage you to reach out to those utilities and let them know if you're struggling, because it's not fair to anybody that corporate decisions that were made affect us the way that they do. And I think that's one of my big things, is it's time for corporations to take a role like Meta, where they came into a community and yes, they were given a tech break, but they actually reinvested into the community. They have built a school, they have sponsored NIU STEAM, they have an entire innovation lab for entrepreneurs. They have given back. But what happens when we have companies that don't give anything back, that take and take and take? And that brings us to the budget, which I really want to just go through with us. And then we'll talk about property. Don't bring any other people about that. So this is from the Illinois Comptroller's Office. It's the 2024 revenue stream, straight up off of there. So I'm going to just play a guessing game with y'all. How much do you think, how much revenue does the state of Illinois bring in? What percentage of revenue, right? Does it bring in from the lottery and riverboats? Take a guess, it's okay, I promise. It's okay.
8 to 11%.
Not bad, it's 2%. Yeah. Do you know how much we get from public utility taxes, anybody? 1.4. Our federal revenues that we get in the forms of the aid that's being cut so kids can't get a bus to get to school, it's 8.6%. Sales tax is almost 20%, 19.9%. Corporate income taxes. Who wants to take a swing at this one? Come on, somebody give me a number.
10%.
10%? You have heard this before. What a wise woman. 9.9% of our income revenue comes from corporate income tax. And the rest is individual income tax. 49.7% of the state of Illinois' budget comes from personal income tax. That is absurd. If we had 12 million billionaires, that would make sense. But we do not have those numbers. And that is absurd to me. Yet corporations, the bigger ones who have lots of incentives, don't have to, due to those incentives, make commitments to communities. And I think it's time that we force them to. We need them to step up or be treated the way we are as individuals. You know, corporations wanted to be free. They wanted to be treated like people. If you remember Citizen United, I say we tax them like people. I don't know, just a crazy idea. All right, so anyway, that's another issue. So, as I talked about, you know, we not only have the issues with transportation, but the after-school care lunch programs have been cut. Voluntary Action Center lost funding for a couple of months, and then they got it back. I don't care what anybody tells you, these interruptions are happening. I'm not getting phone calls and going to visit people and organizations when their food mart is bare because they don't have the food bank check that they're supposed to get in order to fill it. That's real. The effects are real. I am honored to say that we have Kwame Raoul as our Attorney General. He is done an amazing job. He's been able to get the Meals on Wheels money restored, at least for the rest of this year. The Voluntary Action Center had to send out a letter asking seniors to skip a few meals so that they could make ends meet when that cut came. But we had our Attorney General who fought the federal government and said no, along with many other states, and that got the funding restored through the court process. And that's one of the things that we're doing at a state level when we talk about these assaults and concerns and fears. We have a really amazing Attorney General who is on top of pushing back on any constitutional oversight, and that is amazing. We are working very closely on legislation to help push back against things that are happening to protect us as a state. But the issue of states' rights is still somewhat foggy, isn't it? And it's something that we're not stopping and we're not taking for granted. We know how important our rights are here in the state of Illinois. Legislatively, we have been cutting off the problems before they can arise. There's another one coming down the pipe, and that is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. It has a personal vendetta against psychiatric medication, SSRIs, Zoloft, medications for ADHD, and he is trying very hard to be able to eliminate those from being able to be used in many different types of groups. And so I'm working with our representatives and our legal teams to make sure that we can push back in that case. I truly believe doctors who went to school and have practiced medicine and know their patients should be the ones to make that decision. Does anybody else disagree with me on that? Okay, cool. All right. So I then just want to let you know that as a legislature, we're trying to buffer everything we can. The House has been doing a great job. It doesn't always get past the Senate. Remember, the House is 118 people, and the Senate is half of that. The House has held on not increasing taxes, on cutting from every department, and the Senate doesn't always necessarily go along with that. And so we just have to keep working and negotiating and fighting to make sure that we are represented the way we need to be. Property tax relief. So I know we talked a little bit about property taxes, and most of our school funding comes from property taxes, right? The state has been trying to catch up and make a difference to help alleviate the burden, and they are working toward that goal, but it hasn't happened fast enough, and with inflation and everything rising, doesn't seem like it's ever going to come. The House passed a tax reform bill that would have extended or expanded the earnable income from $65,000 for seniors to $70,000 for seniors, because our index does not account for inflation, and therefore, as you received more income from Social Security, some of you, it threw you off of receiving that tax benefit. So we are working to raise that. We have the whole House on board. Well, you guys in the Senate didn't go along with us. So if you have questions, ask your senators. Or ask all the senators. So we are still working on that though. And we have heard about the homestead exemption and wanting that cap to be raised. And we know that there are options out there. And we would love to do it. But the way our system is set up to fund that, where is one school district going to get $1.6 million to get their kids to and from school? At this point, right now. So what do? Do we just say forget it? Or do we make it happen? And as a state, we're going to have to choose to make it happen. So we are working on property tax relief, and I think part of that is maybe incentivizing large corporations who come into areas to put commitments into communities, and if not, well then, we reassess their value to the community. All right, so affordable housing, I mentioned, is really an issue that both I've heard from our Council of Wise Elders down to our Emerging Leaders Council. And there's a bill in the House that would allow for ancillary dwellings to be built on properties. So you could put a mother-in-law house, you could put a child house, because some of us have children who are never going home. You would be able to help expand the housing market. In addition to that, we would have a huge boom in the construction industry because home building would be able to be regenerated even more so than we have. The homes would be smaller, more affordable. We've received pushback from a few of the suburban neighboring areas that don't like the idea of creating like ancillary dwellings because they don't want something next to their house. It's kind of a NIMBY thing. But locally, you can make the ordinances any way that you want. But being able to expand would give far more people the opportunity to have an affordable house. We would also be able to expand more into little villages and rehabilitation silos where people can have their own community living as well as helping those who need more support. I think it's a great idea, and I'm really hoping that we're able to move that forward. So my last point is to answer a few questions that came in that didn't kind of fit into what I was going to talk about. So that is, one of the questions we received was about the hemp industry. I am a huge proponent of being able to regulate the hemp industry, to bring it into the fold. We actually, there's so many brilliant companies and small local businesses that could do amazing things if hemp were regulated the way that it should be. There's a beverage company that does infused beverages and they are amazing, but we can't tax it at an alcohol rate or a marijuana rate because it's not. So we need to create these vehicles in this avenue, and we can stand up a hemp bill that is virtually identical to, at least in the regulation and testing, to the cannabis bill, but done differently. And just treating the hemp-infused sodas, which is this industry, like alcohol, we bring in $1.6 billion from just that, from just hemp-infused drinks. Put them behind the counter, 18 and over. That was an option that we really liked in the house, but they, the powers that be decided that until there was a full hemp bill, that they were not going to consider any sort of additional revenue sources. So I am fully behind hemp. I think that it can be a great product. People in the hemp industry want it to be regulated so they can get rid of the bad actors, and it would be a great boon for us as a state. So just wanted to let whoever asked that know that. Another question I received is, how is the federal and state gas tax allocated? All right, this was an interesting one. So the federal gas tax is put in a highway authority bank account. I think that's not the right word. Remember we talked about buffering? Bear with me. And it goes into 3 separate silos. Well, very much the same thing happens in the state of Illinois with our gas tax. It goes into being returned to municipalities for motor fuel tax. It goes into our roads and bridges and another category. So sorry for a lot of lies. I'm gonna take the notes. So, yeah, they're deposited in the motor fuel tax fund. They're transferred to state construction funds. The motor fuel tax municipalities funds, the motor fuel tax fund, and the town and road district funds. Now, the amounts transferred to local governments are distributed to local road projects. An amendment to the state constitution required in November of 2016 prohibits the use of revenues from motor fuel tax to be used for other than transportation costs. Now, you ever notice how, like, if you go from Ottawa to LaSalle, how the cost is like 40 cents a gallon different? Well, we're in the same county. That comes down to your municipalities and what they choose to put that tax in on. So counties can add a tax, and DuPage, Will, McHenry, and Kane all add their own tax, and then the municipalities add a tax on top of that. So when you see your gas getting so high, you might want to ask some of your local folks, hey guys, I got some questions about why are gas taxes so high? Because remember, gas is actually not really the money maker. The money maker for convenience store and gas station owners are the things within there, things they sell, products that go along with it, the drinks, the food, the car things that you may need, right? Travel necessities. And that's where most of their profit comes from, not from actually the sale of the motor fuel. So kind of works out disadvantagedly, I'm just saying, but I'm not a municipal bid, so I don't have that for sure. So I hope that answers those couple of questions. There were just a few others before we get to our awesome Q&A. We talked, we actually had a few people who were really interested in township consolidation and school consolidation. I am not a proponent of township consolidation in any way, shape, or form. I'm in a rural community, I'm outside of town. The county doesn't do anything for me, the city doesn't do anything for me, even though my address is out, my township does everything for me. They fix my roads, they plow my roads, they cut the brush. So talking to township supervisors, of course, township roads commissioners, that they want to keep control. But I said, okay, well, let's talk. I went and I talked to our county. I talked to IDOT. I talked to the municipalities that surround those townships and said, hey, what do you think about this? Would this be something you'd like to pick up? Would you be willing to take it over? And they said, none of them want it. Because when you're in rural communities, the distance is so far, the responsibility of it is so much more burdensome and financially irresponsible than it is to continue having townships. So just so that, and I'm not saying everywhere, maybe in the city or in big counties where you have a bazillion townships, maybe they're not as important. But out here, our townships make a difference. They really do, and we can't lose sight of that. So I'm strongly against at least rural townships being forced to consolidate. Now, if they want to on their own, great. And that brings us to school consolidation questions, right? So property taxes, a lot of money. How can we get schools to consolidate? And the answer is you. Schools are a local level issue. Everyone feels very loyal to their school. The school that they went to, the school that their kids went to. Once upon a time, schools were truly the hub of a community beside a church. That's where you went to interact. That's where you had, community events and festivals and sporting, and it was a place to touch base. And things have changed over time. We have many, 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 many school districts in this state. Way too, I think, many. I firmly believe that if there were school districts that wanted to consolidate, they would end up with more resources. Not everyone. Some areas it just doesn't make sense geographically. You have to, kids have to get to our bus driver, right? But in the places that it does make sense, I think that communities might find some pretty amazing benefits to that. We've seen it statistically, we've seen it through evidence, even in the state of Illinois. But that's your choice. That's you. That's your voice. That's your school board. That's your town. If the state came in and said, hey, I have an idea. Let's make Waltham, Wallace, and Rutland all one school. That would not fly at all. So until we can do that, until we can change that at the local level, until we can get cooperation, I have no interest in pursuing anything like that because it does not fall into the state yet, of course. So. And that concludes all of the 3 questions. and I only bored you for way too long. So please now, I would love to take questions from anybody in the audience.
And I have microphones, so I'll be right over with that.
Feel free to stand up if you would like. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting this tonight. I think this is so important that you're available to us. I'm a fairly new board member of the Voluntary Action Center that does administer the Meals on Wheels program for, in this Western service area in the South Bureau of Putnam. And I just want to thank you for highlighting an example of effective intervention on behalf of these not-for-profits. Meals on Wheels is an amazing program and is absolutely critical to so many, especially our rural residents, to remaining independent. That's seniors and disabled individuals. And I also wanted to invite you all to come to Wednesday. The New Peru Distribution Center is opening up. We're having a grand opening. The former Peru Pizza House, sorry, we're not going to be giving pizza away, but we have a dedicated group of individuals, both paid volunteers, who absolutely believe in the mission and worked their butts off to serve. One of the things I found, though, that's really disturbing is that here in LaSalle County, particularly in the southern part of the county, we have a wait list of over 200 individuals. And we want to work together to remedy that. So hope to see some of you out there. And again, thank you so much for bringing it to our attention tonight.
If you share that information, we can put it up on our social media.
Absolutely.
About the ribbon cutting, or about the events. Did somebody, I thought I saw more hands. Any more hands?
Seriously, come on. Nothing you want to know? You can ask me. I'm here.
Okay. We won't make anyone ask.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's okay. I won't heckle you. I guess that I can say this has been awesome. I really appreciate you. I don't know if you can truly understand how much this community means to me. Arlene, you mentioned Meals on Wheels. My mom delivered Meals on Wheels for years, and I rode along with her when I was a little girl. These programs are so important, and we have to find ways to keep them going. And that's what we're going to do. And I know I may have been a little bit intense at some moments this evening, but I do want to tell you, I feel really positive. I have never felt, oh, you have a question? Woo! Okay, we have a question.
Go ahead.
Is there any news on higher education being more affordable and being spread out in rural communities?
I wish I had better news for you. Unfortunately, with the funding cuts that are anticipated in the big bill, we are going to see less money available for Pell Grants, less funding for universities, less funding for community colleges. All of those things are going to be, even being able to take out loans is going to become more difficult. We're going to cap the amount you can borrow, $100,000 for an undergraduate degree, which is barely even enough to do that. So at the state level, we did a small increment. We are continuing our commitment to higher education. We are continuing our commitment to education, okay? If we don't educate, if we don't prepare, we don't have a future. I am close enough to the senior council that I was very glad to have it be called the Wise Council of Elders instead of seniors, because it means something. Thank you. So keeping our kids, and we've got some cool programs.
The Meals on Wheels that she was talking about, I too volunteer for Meals on Wheels. And I don't think people understand. They just think somebody knocks at the door and hands them a cold and a hot meal. But really, it's so much more than that. Some of those people, that's the only contact they have. And it's also to see that they're okay. It's a daily check. So
Well, fortunately, our Attorney General was able to push back and get that pushed out of the way, so the funding was restored at least for this year. The rest we're working on, and we're gonna keep fighting for, because things like Meals on Wheels, before and after school care, helping out community are what makes us special. And I think you guys are amazing. I really, really would love for you to join us, whether it's online or it is at staterepbriel.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. We're going to be adding new councils. We have events. Come out, meet your community, get active, get involved, and believe me, no matter how small you may feel, no matter how frustrated you may feel, your voice matters. Your voice keeps those of us in my job going and tells us the direction we need to be going. So whatever you do, stay active and involved. Reach out if you like some legislation and you want to talk about it, or you don't like legislation, or you're worried about something. I have Meta, Brogan, Montez, and me. We're here for you. So thank you so much for coming. Truly appreciate. Oh wait, okay.
Yes, one of the things that I think is so important in our country, and in order to save our democracy, is information. And it seems like when it comes time for election time, people vote not with their mind, their head, but with their heart, or they use some other metric. But somehow, I get the feeling that people really don't understand what's happening to them, especially with regard to this big, magnificent bill. You mentioned some of it, the food pantry, the food program for kids, Head Start, all of that stuff, that's our future there. And we're cutting that. Now, isn't there some way that information can be provided to people on a regular basis, not getting it from a TV station, but getting it from some kind of baby base? I don't know.
You bring up an excellent point, and you're right. Especially since we have lost our local media. The local press has died in communities across the country, particularly in rural communities. We used to have the Times, the News Tribune, and then Shaw came in, and now it's all Shaw, which is not a bad thing. But they're strapped in their capacity as well. They have a limited number of reporters to cover all of these multitude of communities, and things don't get in that maybe should, where if we had more local reporting. Your radio stations, I found down here, are a great source of factual information, at least the online portion. Always ask questions. There are reputable media sites that will let you know that these are the facts, but it's overwhelming. It's kind of crazy to think that you research something and you have to read 15 versions to find out what the truth is, right? It's exhausting. So never be afraid to reach out. We are always here. We give updates from the state perspective. There are multiple, an app that I use is called Newsbreak. It will give you credible, it'll give you everything, but the first few times you swipe credible news organizations, it will give you more fair, factual information.
Well, like for example, your office. Why couldn't your office put out some kind of a publication and say, this is what's going to happen to you with regard to the passage of this legislation?
We have a newsletter, and we would
what
love
I'm
to see
saying
that.
to you is send it to all the constituents, because I don't think that people are gonna make the effort to find out. They're not gonna make the effort to find out. And so what I'm saying is that somebody has gotta take the initiative here to let people know what is happening. What's happening? And people just don't seem to make the effort anymore to find out. So I guess we've become lazy in a way, you know, and we turn to our favorite TV program or radio program or whatever it is, and that's our source of information. But that doesn't tell the whole story. And so what I'm saying is there needs to be some kind of effort to let people know what is really happening. A flyer in the mail, give it to everybody and say this is what's happening as a result of the passage of this legislation. Blanket the whole district with it.
I love that idea. And in fact, we have been sending out some state mail. Some of you have been getting some newsletters about what has happened in Springfield and over the first 6 months. We also, as far as mailing it out, I would love to. That's really expensive, believe it or not. That's a lot of people, and it's really expensive, and people may not necessarily like the mail, but I do. So I'm up for putting up signs in stores, in coffee shops, in community areas that have resources or things going on. We could totally do something like that. In our newsletter, we do keep you updated about what's going on, and so please sign up for that. It doesn't come in the mail because I have a very small budget, and we don't get the type of money senators get. So, but we do the best that we can in every way that we can to communicate. But I love that, and I'll find a way to make more of that there.
I don't know if this is something that would be state or it would be federal, but getting the FDA, something to get through to the FDA that they need to approve stem cells, because they do not approve them. I was slated for spinal fusion at Mayo's, a big chunk in my back, because my doctor said my back was a train wreck, and I was actually have a wheelchair at home. I was, I would have had to been pushed, a year ago I would have had to been pushed in here in a wheelchair. I decided to go through, I met this doctor who is a neurosurgeon from Canada. He has now got a clinic in Paducah, Kentucky. So we've been making trips to Paducah, Kentucky.
Move the microphone closer to your mouth so we can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Better.
Okay, so we've been making these trips to Paducah, Kentucky. The insurance will not pay for it. So it is very expensive. But after a year, I still have a long way to go. I will probably never be totally, pain-free, but I'm walking. I use a cane, but I'm walking. But the insurance will not pay for it. So I sent things to Laura Underwood, Dick Durbin, Kim Duckworth, anybody I can think of. I've been sending information on this because if I had that surgery at Mayo's, we figured if I didn't have insurance, I would have been up there for like 3 weeks, and it would have cost, and then about a year of recuperation, So it would have cost us probably over $400,000 for that. The insurance took care of it. We would have taken care of it. This, getting the stem cells, I got the injections in my spine, in between the joints in my spine. I walked out of it that same day. I was sore, but I did walk out of it.
So as far as stem cell goes, I was not really aware that this was something that was an issue. You're right, it is federal, but I do believe, and let me look into this for you. Let me look into this and reach out to the office, and I'll get back to you.
Because actually, stem
themselves, they don't just use it for that. I mean,
Right,
they
it's
use it
used for many, many,
Oh,
many
yes.
different regenerative
There were
purposes. Yeah.
people from our area that we ran into when we were down there in the office, that were down there, because this doctor has been to our area twice. He has done, seminars on pain management at the Peru Library twice now. And, people are going down from our area, to get treatments for, one girl, was for autoimmune. One was she brought her husband down for dementia. I mean, different things, kidney disease, there's a whole list of
Thank
things.
you, we love that, and in fact, there may be something we can do with that legislatively.
Yeah, I would love to
So,
see something.
at the state level, at least perhaps maybe in, state-funded plans for those state employees, or maybe something that we could do in that respect, but,
People that said, when I tell them about it, and they say, oh, I would love to do that, but there's no way I could afford it,
right,
He has a friend that, just makes it from paycheck to paycheck, he's on Medicaid, and, so, it would just be, it really need to do something.
on the flip side of that, we would need funding. So let's get the hemp industry up and rolling, okay? Then we can fund those sorts of things. I think we had one more question in the back.
As far as your school programs, before and after, is there any way that you can make it volunteer? There's people that would volunteer 1 day, maybe 2 days a week, that are retired. And that if the community stepped up, we could cover those programs.
That's a really good idea. And my face went instantly to regulations because we have made it really challenging with red tape to do a lot here sometimes. Not intentionally, we want what's best for the kids, for the facilities and that. But I would have to look and see what kind of licensing or requirements were there, and if that was something that could be done. But if you were able to work with a school district, again, that's a local thing, right? Like, that would be amazing. If you want to reach out to our office, we can see if there's some way to coordinate something with another group. So please, reach out to our office and we'll see if we can explore that idea.
Does anybody have any other questions today? Well, thanks everyone for coming out. I also wanted to point out that we do have representatives from Shaw and Starved Rock Media here tonight that came out to spend the evening with us too. So, I guess that's
All right, well, I just want to say again, thank you for coming. Reach out. We're always available. We want to know more. We want to know what's important to you, and we want to help. That's our job. So thank you guys for being involved.
Thanks everyone.